Hi again. This is Anita Christmas with Paparazzi Accessories, and today we are going to go over kind of a more in-depth view of the compensation plan. So if you want to look at what I'm looking at, go to the Paparazzi Accessories website, either mine right here, or you can just go to paparazziaccessories.com. Click on this Opportunities tab. Once you click on that tab, you're going to scroll down till you get to the compensation plan here. And you can just hit this magnifying glass to get it a little bit bigger. So in a previous video, we've talked about star consultant and director, just to go over that really quickly, and some terminology. So to be active every month, you need to have a minimum of 50 PV to be considered active. Each piece of jewelry that you buy is 2 PV. So 50 PV equals 25 pieces in a calendar month, okay? Star consultant, you get 5% on the people that you have personally signed up underneath you. Once you rank up to director, you're going to get 10% on the people you've personally signed up, as well as 5% on the people who have signed up underneath them. So, and again, in a different video, I talk about how to rank up to director. So if you have any questions about that, you can find the video about how to rank up to director and what that entails. What we're going to do for this video is talk about some of the higher ranks and how you can get there. So for director, you need 3 personally sponsored active consultants. And those 3 consultants can have just 50 PV per consultant, and you're still going to have your director status. Once you start ranking up above director, that is based on your team's volume, okay, which you can see right here. That's called organizational volume, OV for short. It's also called group volume sometime. For right now, we'll go with OV since that's what is on here. So once the next rank after director is premier director. In order to hit premier director, you have to be active, so you have to have your 50 PV in the month, and then your team, your organizational volume, that's everyone on your team, doesn't matter what level they're on, everyone on your team, their volume together has to equal 3,000 or more. So that's 3,000 organizational volume, and again, that's everyone who signed up on your team underneath you. Now, what you have to remember as you start ranking is that this 3,000 organizational volume, you have to kind of think of it in like a 3-tier approach, because you can't have more than 1,000 volume from one leg. So basically that means if you have 3 personally sponsored active consultants, which you always have to have to hit these ranks, if you have 3 personally sponsored active consultants, you can't have more than 1,000 of your volume come from any one leg. So if you have 3 people and consultant A has 1,000, consultant B has 1,000, and consultant C has 1,000, then you will be okay to hit premier director. But if you have consultant A has 1,500, consultant B has 500, and consultant C has 1,000, that's not going to work. You won't be able to rank with that, because you can't have more than 1/3 of the volume come from any one leg. Okay, so once you get it though to where it's all even out to where you have at least 1,000 and you don't have more than 1/3 coming from each leg, then that's going to allow you to go ahead and rank up to premier director. So it's important to note that this is why you want to always keep recruiting. because you don't want to get lopsided, because what can happen is you have one team, one leg on your team, one leg that does really, really well, and two other ones that don't do so well. You can't rank up with it being lopsided like that. You need multiple consultants, so you have multiple legs that are all working, so that if you have a couple who aren't doing so well, that's okay, because you can have a couple other legs that are doing well, and it makes up the difference, okay? So going forward all the way up till you hit, let's see, till you hit Lux Jet Setter. It's the 1/3 rule, okay? So as you're ranking up, that's something that you need to remember to keep track of, is that you can't be lopsided and have more than 1/3 of the volume come from any one leg. If you do have the Paparazzi app on your phone, on your dashboard, it will keep track of it'll keep track of that for you. So when you're looking, and in your back office you look at your team's organizational volume, and it says you have 3,500, but then you look on your dashboard and it says you only have 2,800, you know that you're lopsided a little bit on your legs, and you need more volume from one leg to be able to rank up like that. So I know it can be a little bit confusing, but again, your upline will be able to help you. If you're on my team, I'll be able to help you. We can help you crunch those numbers to make sure that you get where you need to be, and everything. So don't be overwhelmed by this. I know that any compensation plan you look at, you're like, whoa, I don't understand. So don't let the fact that you might not completely understand this keep you from going ahead and working your business. The main thing to remember is to keep recruiting, and then help the people that you recruit to build their business and to gain team members themselves, okay? So that's Premier Director. You have to have 3,000 in organizational volume. The next step after that is Executive Director. For Executive Director, you have to have 100 PV for yourself in a month. That's 100 PV that you yourself have purchased. You have to have 3 personally sponsored active consultants. You can always have more, but that's the minimum that you have to have. And then the organizational volume for that is that your team's volume has to be 6,000 or more. That 1/3 rule still applies, so you can't have more than 2,000 come from one leg in order to get that 6,000. So that's something that you need to remember as well. And I do want to go back on Premier Director, because I want to point out, Premier Director, you gain a commission on a 3rd level. So for Premier Director, you're getting 10% on your personally sponsored, you get 5% on the people underneath them, and you also get a 5% on the people underneath them. So if you sign someone up, that's your 1st level. If they sign someone up, that's your 2nd level. If they sign someone up, that's your 3rd level. And so you're just, basically what it is as your team starts growing and you start getting these bigger organizational volumes, that means that people on your team are probably recruiting other people as well, and therefore you start receiving commissions on people who are lower on your team as well. So for Premier Director, you get the first 3 levels. With Executive Director, once you hit that with the 6,000 organizational volume, you still get the 10% on personally sponsored, the 5% on your 2nd and 3rd level, and then starting here, this is a generation bonus. So you get 1% on everyone on your team, in addition to the 10%, 5%, and 5%. So you're basically getting an extra bonus. Plus, then as you have people deeper on your team, you're also getting paid a commission on them as well. After Executive Director comes producer. For producer, you need 100 PV for yourself in a month, and your team organizational volume has to be 12,000 or more. The 1/3 rule still applies. You can't have more than 4,000 in volume come from any one leg, and you do have to have a minimum of 3 personally sponsored active consultants. Now you do get an increase in your commission on this as well. You still get 10, 5, and 5 for your first 3 levels, but now this generation bonus, instead of only getting 1%, now you're getting 3% on everyone in your team, in addition to the 10% on your first level and 5% on your second and third level. Okay, and it just keeps going up from there. The one thing that I do want to point out too, is executive producer is when you hit elite status. Okay, so that's what Paparazzi has determined to be elite status, and at that point you have 40,000 in team organizational volume, and you continue to just get higher and higher commission rates on that as well. So again, I know compensation plans can be a little bit mind-boggling, especially if you're not necessarily a numbers person. But again, myself, if I'm your upline, or your upline, will be there to help you figure this out, to make sure that you're doing everything that you need to make sure that you're getting paid the maximum amount that you can get paid for your business. So if you have any questions, feel free to contact me with anything you need to know.